Hi, people. This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is
Season
season 3
3
of
Pero Let Me Tell You.
No, that's Blake Lewis from American Idol.
Oh, yeah. That's from ADD, right?
Yeah.
Audio Daydream. Yes.
Yeah. He was really good.
I really like
He
that album.
beatboxes better than Justin Timberlake, but I know you can't say that to the masses.
You just did.
I did.
You just did.
I guess we're recording.
We are recording.
Well, with that said, welcome to episode 118 of Pero Let Me Tell You, everybody.
Buenas, caballeros y damas.
118. Here we are.
One step further from the party.
The 90s band?
Yes. Yes.
The party's going to be headlining with California Dreams. What was her name?
The Dreams.
The Dreams?
The Dreams, yeah.
That was a great song.
Whatever. That album was not bad. The first season album.
What, of the party or California
of California
Dreams?
Dreams.
But see, this theme song
The
was
theme
great.
song is so
Actually,
phenomenal.
You know what's really funny? You would enjoy this. Hello, listeners. How is everybody this week? You know, we always start with some gibberish.
Yes. Or end as last week.
So, my mortgage servicer is Mr. Cooper.
Mine too.
You're too?
Mine too.
And every single time that I
I
open
was
up the bill, I would go, Cooper. Hanging with my man is such a Cooper.
If only it was delivered by En Vogue.
Wouldn't it be great? I haven't really called them. That if you call them when they put you on mute,
It's like
it's a theme song to Mr. Cooper.
Or more subtly, because people won't like. If you get it, you get it. But if you don't, you don't. The whole music is just funky divas. The whole album.
You make the connection
on a
right?
loop. Yeah, you have to make it on your own.
Yeah. But that every single time I'm like, Cooper. Do you remember that the pilot episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper was shot
In the Growing Pains.
in the Growing Pains house? Yeah,
Yep.
and Alan Thicke comes out.
At the beginning, before the show starts, to get the family portrait.
Yeah. It's so funny because that show started off with like him and Vanessa. Do you know what happened with that show?
I don't know. You know what?
It was him. It was like a vehicle for Mark Curry.
Right, because he was a comedian at
Right,
the time.
and obviously they put Don Lewis and Holly
Robinson.
And it was supposed to be kind of like the black version of
Three's Company. Yeah.
But it didn't work out.
Oh, that's why they got rid of Don Lewis?
That's why they got rid of Don Lewis.
They
It didn't
were
work
retooling
out.
the show.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So then that's why they brought in Raven Simone and I guess her mother.
Her mother, I forgot what her mother's name was.
What?
Georgia?
I don't remember. I just remember Raven Simone.
For some reason, I want to say Khadijah, but I know Khadijah was Queen Latifah on Living
And
Single.
they changed it. I'm like, oh, but they got rid of Don Lewis. Like, Don Lewis left a different world to be on Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
It's okay. She's done voiceover work, a lot of voiceover work. Yeah.
Yeah. But I used to love that show.
She does a lot of voiceover work specifically on Futurama, and actually she's going to be voicing the captain on the new animated Star Trek series.
So she's still, like, active.
Yeah, she's still very active.
Yeah. I love that in the intro to Hanging with Mr. Cooper. It's like, for like a split second, because they're all dressed similarly, you don't know which one's in Vogue, and you don't know which is, like,
Oh, that's
them,
true.
Because they're all together, and, like, they're dressed very
They're
similarly.
like, if not identical, yeah.
Yeah, and their hair is like picked up, and it's like, okay, which is the girls from Hanging with Mr. Cooper and in Vogue, the 90s.
Ugh, back when we had theme songs.
I know, right? What happened to theme songs? You know what? Let's talk about this.
Let's have a moment for theme songs.
Let's pour one out. What happened to theme songs? Sitcom theme songs.
I
Come and knock on our door.
I think I know what the reasoning is.
Okay, from an advertising
Exactly, yeah.
perspective.
From a marketing perspective, actually, what started happening is you started having longer commercial breaks, and so you needed to find a place to cut for additional content. So that's why they got rid of the opening and ending theme song, really.
Right.
And so that is more of the episode. So that way you can still have more advertising space.
Right.
But the same amount of episodes.
So we lose the theme song for advertisers.
Yes, you're welcome, America.
I don't think that trade-off was fair.
It was not. It's
Because,
not good.
I think theme songs were such a big part of sitcoms.
True, but notice how now, like, your Netflix shows and your Hulu shows do have theme songs.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to play that marketing game.
Yeah.
So they're kind of bringing it back.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you might be right for some. You know what? The man is born.
He's a man of means.
Man of means. And along came two, and they got nothing but the genes, but they got different strokes it takes. Actually, you know what? We should do like a theme song medley of a show that had a lot of spin-offs. Like,
Bueno, then I guess we could start with All in the Family. It would have to be All in the Family because All in the Family spun off the Jeffersons, Maude. Technically, Archie Bunker's
Okay. So All in the Family is
Good Times.
Those were the days.
Yeah, and then from that you can go into Maude.
Men were men.
Mister, we could use a man like Hoy but Hoover again. That sounds like Carol Channing.
That spun off to Maude.
Which begat
with
Good
Maude,
Times.
which was how does Maude
Lady
start?
Godiva was a
The
freedom rider.
She was
didn't
a
care if the whole world looked.
Joan of Arc with the Lord to guide her. She was a sister that really cooked. Isabella was the first bra burner,
and you're glad she showed up.
Oh yeah, and when the country was falling apart, Betsy Ross had it all sewed up. And then there's Maude, and then there's Maude.
I can't do the end of that
and
song.
then that spun off to
Good times.
anytime you need a payment. Good times.
Anytime you need a friend.
Good Times is one of my favorite shows of all time.
For me, it's the Jeffersons. And the Jeffersons...
You like the Jeffersons more than Good Times?
Yes. Because I feel like with Good Times, one of the things the Jeffersons didn't have to do was the very special children episodes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, because since they had little kids in Good Times, you had to at least have that one episode where it's just like, Michael got an F for cheating. Mm-hmm. You know, Jeffersons could just be more adult. And it has, fight me on this. I don't care who. I will beat you. Single best sitcom theme ever is the Jeffersons.
Moving on up. I would definitely put it up there.
It is like when I hear it, it's instant. Like I'm there.
To a deluxe apartment in the sky. Do you know that in the Jeffersons, it was when I first learned about the 1 millionth customer. Because they have an episode where they're the 1 millionth customer.
Where Louise is the 1 millionth customer at George's competitor's
dry cleaner.
Yeah.
And that's when which I don't know. I've never heard of a store doing the 1 millionth customer thing. Was that like a thing of the 70s and 80s?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's like I was watching as I was catching up on my, It's a Living binge last week as we discussed. There were a lot of sitcoms in the 80s where there was an episode about being held hostage.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like,
or being stuck somewhere.
Being stuck either in an elevator
or a garage.
Yeah, that was a big thing. But as I was watching the hostage episode of It's a Living, which doesn't sound any less crazy to say out loud, I was like, man, there was always that one episode where either you were having a party and a robber came in, or you were at a bank and they held you hostage. Yeah. But it made being held hostage look so fun.
Well, in It's a Living, they were at the above the top restaurant,
Actually, It's a Living, está grave.
Yeah, they were like terrorists. They were going to start shooting people. They were going to kill Jan.
Yes, and she didn't care.
Yeah, Jan stood up for the right.
Jan stood up for her right to tell her daughter how to deliver a kitten.
Yes. So let's see. So Jefferson's best theme song. I'm not going to argue that. I mean, if not the best, one of the best.
Another one that's up there, maybe tied for me, but for different reasons, because it evokes a different feeling, is the theme from Who's the Boss?
Oh, well, of course. I mean,
but that one just makes me cry, and so does the one from Perfect Strangers.
Sometimes the world looks perfect.
In my
Nothing
old age,
can be arranged.
That theme song makes me cry.
Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. Standing tall.
Because it's like, it's about like going for what you want.
It's a Different World had a good theme song. I mean, it was sung by Aretha Franklin.
That's true. You can't get better than that.
Different World was so good.
It's so underrated.
You know what?
Underappreciated, let me put it.
I remember
now.
A Different World was very popular.
But now I feel like people don't think about it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I think that show obviously You know what? I'm glad you said that because I would have thought now in the age that we're in, whether it's the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter,
yeah,
you know how we
representation,
are,
yeah.
right? That show hasn't kind of made a comeback because that show was woke before
yeah.
woke was being a
That
thing.
show was Black Lives Matter before Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, like they were woke in like
Yeah.
90, 91.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
And that's a show that really had an evolution
it did.
in how it evolved and it changed.
It did because I think that it's probably one of these shows that yes, it was going to be a show that was in an HBU, well, in a fictional HBU. But it was probably going to be like the kids like in a black college.
It was a Lisa Bonet spinoff, and so it was wacky hijinks.
But it spun off into like a very socially conscious show,
very
which
much.
was I loved it. That was one of my favorite shows in the early '90s, and like I remember that their episode about the LA riots was just
That's right. That was Whitley and Dwayne's honeymoon.
Yeah, it was like amazing, like how they did it, but even aside from it being socially conscious, like it was hilarious. Like,
oh no, it was.
I thought the show was just so well written, and I love the episode of their wedding. When she was going to get married to the other guy? Was gonna, and I mean, come on, her mom, Whitley's mom, was Diane Carroll. She was amazing. That's actually
Dwayne Wade's mom, Patty LaBelle. I mean, come on.
That's actually when I first loved, because the thing with Diane Carroll on Different World for our generation, right. I remember when I used to see her on A Different World, she looked familiar. Right,
but we didn't grow up with Dynasty.
Right, I did. We grew up with Dynasty, but not really. It wasn't of our time.
Right.
We were too small. But I'm like, she looks familiar, and I always thought she was very she was beautiful, you know. And
it's funny because she was almost playing like the comedic version of Dominique.
Yeah, she was. She just wasn't like an evil bitch.
Right. But she was playing the sitcom version of Dominique.
No, I wouldn't say Dominique was an evil bitch. Dominique was.
Well, but she was an evil bitch in the same vein that all the bitches
right
of the
in
show.
Dynasty were. Yeah. But I loved her that's like when I really got to know Diane Carroll.
Yeah.
Like she was amazing. I mean, it's funny because she was a recurring character.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was just so good on that show. So come on, why isn't is a different world on some streaming?
It's on Hulu, I believe.
Why isn't a different world? We need to bring back a different world.
That's Justice for a Different World.
Justice for a Different World. I mean, great theme song, great cast.
Jasmine
they had little reunions on Casey Undercover on Disney. That's right. Because for those of you who don't know, Casey's father was Dwayne Wade.
No, Dwayne Wayne.
Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade. Escúchame.
Yes, Kadeem Hardison.
And all he needed was the glasses. And, and then Whitley, Jasmine Guy, she did a bunch of guest appearances on that show. And they were always taking jabs and like making references to...
Que lástima que was on a show starring her.
Zendaya. We don't like Zendaya.
Ay, qué persona para caerme mal.
Pero ¿por qué? She's like a young girl.
She's not a young girl. She's like in her 20s now, so it's okay for me to say these things. But she's so like just there. She's so insipid, and she's one of these people who's just insipid, but people want to make you believe that she's not.
Well, and it's not a criticism of her. I don't have a problem with her whatsoever. My only thing is that I feel that I don't want to say that she's overrated because that's an insult. I just think that they talk about Zendaya more.
Like she's like this huge.
Because when like celebrity shows talk about Zendaya, it's like, oh my, it's like if Beyonce
like Meryl Streep.
Like Beyonce was walking down the red carpet. I'm like, Zendaya. And I'm like,
that's what I mean.
I'm like, good for her. Like,
but
no hate towards her. Good for her. But I'm like, but what has Zendaya done that people are like?
Like I said, to that magnitude.
Yeah, no, but that's why I tell you. If you don't think Beyonce's walking down the red carpet, it's like, oh my God. Like, I remember I was watching something on E! one time that I forgot who they were interviewing, that they literally stopped the interview to go interview Zendaya. And I'm like...
She's one of these actors that, you know what? The industry just decided is going to be a thing, and we're going to have to deal with it.
Right. But you know what? But her, Rita Ora...
You know what? At least Rita Ora tries.
Rita Ora really
Listen,
tries.
Rita Ora works for it, okay? Yeah. I'd rather reward Rita Ora for her years of effort.
So Ish and I have this joke that we... Rita Ora would be in commercials and in red carpets. She was in anything and
every
everything.
magazine, everything.
And Rita Ora was famous in the UK and in parts of Europe, and Ish and I both follow like the European music scene, so we knew who she was. But here in the US, like Mirada, they tried to like make Rita Ora happen.
Yeah,
like
she was the human equivalent of Fetch.
I mean, she was in freaking 50 Shades of Grey. She did a song with Chiquita Iggy Azalea when she was like at her peak. Boy, did that starfall. But and it's like. It didn't happen.
No, thank you.
She hosted one season of America's Next Top Model.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
She was like, every time there was a red carpet, it'd be like, Rita Ora. And I'd be like, why are people
American really
know who Rita Ora is? Like,
yeah.
who's Rita Ora? So, anyway.
But again, her publicist earned every dime.
Every dime. So,
every dime.
Bueno, let's actually move into our content.
From Rita Ora.
To 30 minutes later. So, what do we think about Goya?
Oh, Lord. ¿Tú sabes lo que es que ahora hasta los puñeteros frijoles se han puesto políticos? Lo que faltaba.
Yeah. Political beans.
They're not as tasty as kidney beans. I'll tell you
the
that.
political beans. Okay, so
let's recap.
So the president or CEO of Goya was in an event where Trump was there, and
It was an event, and actually, give me 1 second, because
Do you have his quote?
I don't have his quote, but I do have the thing he was there for. So it was they were having a White House Hispanic Prosperity Initiative.
Okay.
So it was a gathering, and I will say I actually went to the whitehouse.gov and tried to read up on what this initiative is. I might as well put Rita Ora in there. Nobody's paying attention. But it was him and a bunch of other Hispanic-owned or Latino-owned, fronted, etc. Businesses. And I know you're looking for the quote, but I'll paraphrase or recap. Essentially, he, at the end of the meeting or whatever, he said something to the effect of...
Oh, I have it here.
Okay, great.
He said, quote, "We are truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump who is a builder. We have an incredible builder, and we pray for our leadership, our president, and we pray for our country that we will continue to prosper and grow."
Right. Now, that prompted several people to call out for boycott Goya, one of whom, and I don't know if she started it, but I know that she was one of them. Or again, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe she was one of them, but things are doctored nowadays, so who knows. My favorite petulant child, Alexandria AOC, la Auch, esa. Auch. That's how I feel every time I see her.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Basically calling for a boycott of Goya because of what they said at this event about the president. I mean, that's in a nutshell what is going on. So obviously, because we can't have nice things, this has turned into a, boycott Goya, support Goya, rabbit season, duck season. It's basically turned into that. I will say, and actually it's interesting because he came out, the person, we should know the guy's name by now. He did also come out and he said, look, I get people are sensitive about what he said,
Robert Unanue. He is the president of Goya, and his grandfather
was the owner.
Found it in 1936.
He also did, when again, like the next day when he had to come out and make a statement or whatever, he did say that he stands by his comments, and he also said that he had been invited for a similar type of initiative during the Obama era White House, and he went. And if another president invites him, he will go, because that is the White House, and they are inviting him to the White House of the country. So, I get that people are upset with what he said, but I will say this. It's one thing for people, quote unquote, to call for a boycott of something. It's quite another for somebody in a position of government to say that without thinking through the ramifications of, and actually Maria Elvira Salazar kind of said this, and I echo her sentiments to a degree. This is a company that employs, I don't even know how many people. So you're calling for basically a boycott so that a lot of people's livelihoods could potentially, theoretically, be endangered? That's a little irresponsible, especially if you are, the AOC, Latina be-all, end-all, representation of everything with an ñ, where, these are companies that are headquartered in predominantly Hispanic communities and employ predominantly Hispanic people. It feels a little irresponsible for her. For her as a government, in that level.
As a elected official.
As an elected official.
Right.
So,
I have so many opinions on this, and there are like many people's are multi-layered. Obviously, he has the right to say whatever he wants. He has the right to like the president, hate the president, whatever. I think he should have been a little bit different with his words because, whether you like Trump, whether you don't like Trump, whether you agree with Trump or you disagree with Trump, we're in a very sensitive time right now.
Correct.
And I think that he probably, if I would have been him, knowing what's going on and knowing that immigration and, the Hispanic and Latin community right now is very much at odds with this administration for reasons we could go a rabbit hole down to, but we're not going to. I think he could have been polite and thanked the president for inviting him and been polite without having to say, that we are truly blessed. I think part of the problem why people reacted so adversely to what he said was like, we are blessed to have you as a leader.
Right. No, and I understand.
I think that if he would have had a more kind of benign, like, thank you, Mr. Trump, for inviting.
We feel blessed to be invited, or
for inviting me to.
It's an honor to be at the White House.
Right. As you know, Goya Foods has been it's a Hispanic-owned business, and we have been for the last 80, 90 years, whatever. I think he could have been a little bit more discretionary on his words. I mean, at the end of the day, he could say whatever he wants. That's why I want to make that very clear. Like, he could say whatever he wants, and
that's the beauty of the U.S.
He did, right? I would have probably been a little bit more discretionary with that going on. With what's going on with the Trump administration and immigration. I think he said what he said, and he has a right to say it. We have a right to criticize it, and you have a right to boycott it. If you want to boycott Goya because you think that is the best way of you expressing your disarray and your anger towards its president and what he said, then go do it.
Knock yourself out.
I
will say this though. If you're gonna boycott though, guys, boycott moving forward. Any products that you have, don't throw them away. There are homeless people out there. There are organizations that will take your donations. So don't throw shit away.
My thing is that, and we've discussed it here on this show. I am not big on cancel culture.
Well, neither of us.
I think there's certain things that should be canceled and are canceled when when they're appropriate. But as a whole, I think cancel culture is a very slippery slope. And again, he is not just a company president or CEO. He is the owner of that company. So he's not going anywhere. So again, a boycott of this company could affect adversely those workers that work in plants that probably have minimum wage, that most of them are Latino. Those are the people that this could potentially hurt. I think there's probably a different way. Again, if you want to boycott Goya. Knock
yourself out.
And listen, in 118 episodes, I made it very clear I am not a fan of the president. We both have made it clear. We're not fans of the president at all. That's to put it nicely. So if you want to boycott Goya, you have every right to boycott Goya. If you think that what the man said is terrible, you have a right to
go and buy 18 cases of comino.
Right. If you want to buy black beans,
so they come out of your ears,
go do it. Right. You do whatever you do, you baby.
Right. Exactly.
But when the problem today is that because all of us have a voice through social media, we all want to be activists. And being an activist is
it's not a hashtag.
It's a multi-layered position to take on something, and it's not. You're not an activist because you boycotted Goya.
Or you use hashtag
right. You're an activist when you dedicate a substantial portion of your life to a cause, right? That is what activism looks like. Activism is not one act. It's several acts put together which lead to change, right? And Goya is a company that has a lot of philanthropic.
During this time, they were donating a lot of food.
They were. So and the reason I bring that up is because, and this is now on both sides, because okay, we have to boycott Goya, we have to boycott Starbucks, we have to boycott Walmart, we have to boycott Target, we have to boycott
Nike.
Chick-fil-A, we have to boycott Nike. Okay, so how many people are we boycotting? Like, boycott this, boycott that.
Right.
It's like, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, we've become the 1 million
so
moms.
it's like, this is not probably the best way to go. So I don't believe in cancel culture. I think cancel culture, you enter a very slippery slope that is just, you're canceling people a lot of times that either shouldn't be canceled, or you're canceling entities
it's
that
knee-jerk a lot of times.
that who's gonna be hurt by it is not gonna be who you want.
Right.
To hurt, right?
Because when the money stops flowing in, the owner is not going to be laid off.
What's the worst? He's not gonna get his bonus.
Oh well. But they're going to
What
lay off.
happens if the company misses their quarter? They have to lay off people.
They're going to have to lay off a delivery guy, and they're going to have to lay off one of the janitors, and they're going to have to lay off one of the, That's the thing. We got to think.
I think it would be as effective if you go to, for example, Goya's headquaters, and maybe people go and protest, like, Goya,
Right.
This is what the Trump administration is doing to, Hispanics and whatever.
Whatever happened to a strongly worded letter? And again, I'm talking about a government official, elected official, reaching out. Let's say reaching out to this guy, as opposed to sending out a tweet, how dare you boycott Goya? How about, being an adult, which I think is my biggest issue with her. She's incapable of that. And saying, hey, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Because growing up, your brand meant so much to me and my family. It was a staple. And I would really like to have a conversation with you because you do so much for the Latino community.
Right. Look, I think that the people that want to boycott Goya, the intention is in the right place. And, and I certainly agree with why they're doing it. I just think that, unfortunately, if there is a negative ramification on the company, it's not going to be on the higher ups. It's going to be on the lower, lower in the totem
rung.
pole.
Yeah.
And that's what I was actually thinking about. Well, speaking of canceling, did you see who else got canceled this week?
Nick Cannon. I have a huge issue with him.
Well, but do you know what's interesting about Nick Cannon getting canceling?
Well, he seemed to have a little bit of a Kanye moment.
Well,
there.
he got canceled by Viacom,
yes,
but he didn't get canceled by Fox.
Right.
So Nick Cannon, in his podcast, made some anti-Semitic remarks this week, and it's funny because I saw a video of it, but you know that Nick Cannon is very off the wall.
So you could tell he was just saying something and not
yeah,
thinking.
he was like rambling that I saw it 3 times. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like
that's why it sounded Kanye-esque to me.
Because it wasn't exactly. It wasn't like, how when you hear something racist or bigoted, you're like, oh my God, did that person just say that?
Right.
I listened to it like 3 times. I'm like, ¿de qué hablan? And then after when I read what the context was, I was like, oh. I was like, yes. But right off the bat, I'm like, this is Nick Cannon on like the Nick Cannon high,
exactly. He put on that turban that he wears on Masked Singer, and
that I'm like, pero de qué dice este niño?
So what is it exactly that he said? Or to paraphrase,
well, he said he did the whole, the whole terrible stereotype that Jews want to rule the world.
Okay, got it.
Now I thought about who run the world,
Jews.
He went down that whole.
I was singing the Barbra Streisand remix.
He went down that whole.
Okay.
Stupid route, and then he was saying, I don't know, something else of like, when you're like somebody who's been oppressed, but you don't have melanin, you become like the animal.
You become like the oppressors.
Something like that. That I'm like, pero de qué
you still don't know, and you've
él?
seen it like 4 times.
¿Qué habla él? Like, ¿qué dice este niño? Like. And then, he went back and he was like, they're trying to censor me and stuff like that. He later did give an actual apology.
Yes, but my issue here is that the apology, from what I read, Viacom gave him like a couple of shots. Issue an apology, issue a statement, and he didn't. And then they let him go. And then he issued the apology. That is why I feel like it is... Again, I don't pretend to know what is in Nick Cannon's head or anything like that. But because the apology only came after they fired him, I don't feel it was sincere.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think what's interesting in his
Because
is that
si a ti te dan chance to be like, dude.
no, I understand. I just think that what's interesting in his situation is that again, Viacom, which is a huge entity, you know, MTV and all that,
CBS, yeah.
CBS canceled him, but Fox did not. So I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we see somebody, you know, who gets canceled that like does by one network or one entity, but not by the other. And you're talking about big entities.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and I think you're right. I can't recall a time where it's been like, okay, you're gonna get fired from here, but you can still go here. And again, you know what? It's still happening. So for all we know, you know, Fox may come back and say no, thank you, because The Masked Singer. I mean, granted, by its very name, you would think they could do it during Corona,
right?
But I don't even know when it's coming back,
right?
So they may feel like we don't have to make a decision yet. Let's hold off and see what happens.
Oh yeah, not to like backpedal, pero when we were talking about the whole Goya thing, I forgot to mention the terrible, which we posted on our Instagram, picture of Ivanka Trump with the Goya can, and then Trump with the Goya can. It's like, Ivanka Trump, do you want us to believe?
Jamás en su vida esa mujer ha visto una lata de frijoles negros.
Yeah. She probably has no clue what it is.
Hazme favor.
Please.
Okay?
Please. Your mom is from the Czech Republic.
Yeah. Like, not even by that end.
Yes.
Like not even. Not even. Hazme favor.
So, when I saw that picture, that's why I posted it on our Instagram. I'm like, I know what she's trying to do here. First of all, she shouldn't be doing that because that's a major violation.
Let me ask you about that. What is the violation?
Well, the violation is when you're a government employee, especially of that magnitude, you can't endorse or favor a brand.
Okay, that's
yeah, it's an ethical violation.
That's like an actual violation.
Yes, it's an ethical. Okay. It's ethical. It's not criminal.
So it's something you just shouldn't do, quote unquote.
Yes, you shouldn't. I mean, you're.
But why stop now?
Right. And then Trump took a picture of
that picture
of him in the Oval Office.
That picture's hilarious.
Que the Oval Office of the United States iba a entrar un pomo de adobo de Goya
sin estar elegido Marco Rubio.
Yes. Who would have ever thought that the
highest office in the land? What's the name
of the desk? The Resolute desk. Because you know there's different desks for the president.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's different desks. There's like 5 or 6 desks that exist for the president. Like, for example, like, you know that famous picture of John F. Kennedy where Jr. was like playing in the desk?
Yeah.
Because they had like a trap door. That's the Resolute desk. So there's like different desks.
Oh, and they bring them out
that different presidents have used, and they're in storage. So when you become president, you can choose which president.
Oh, cool.
You want. Who was ever going to thought that the Resolute desk in the Oval Office of the United States con una lata de
frijoles negros.
Negro, adobo, you know?
I think those probably Bijol.
Like, who?
No, Bijol is a brand, I think.
That is not how we thought that was going to go down.
But you know what? 2020.
Well, yeah.
2020. That's all we got to say.
2020. 2020, baby. So, as we enter 2020 talk, obviously we have to talk about the coronavirus.
Mid-year.
So... More and more. So Florida. Florida.
We're number 1.
So if Florida was a country, we would be the country with the fourth largest country with the most inspections in the world.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
If we were a country, we would be number 4.
Number 4 of
people infected.
Of people infected.
Yes.
Try harder, Florida. I'm not accepting 4th place. Bitch, no.
It's like we will
come
after like the United States, like the rest of the
United States.
I think like China.
Oh my God, China!
And then Florida.
Step it up, kids. The world's watching. We need to step it up.
Listen, I don't know.
I was telling you
We've
earlier.
talked about the coronavirus for like 20 episodes now.
For like 8 years, I feel.
I don't know what else to say.
I told you earlier. I'm like, you know what? I give up.
You give up on humanity?
Well, that. But I give up. You know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to wear my mask. I will do what needs to be done. And that's it.
Did you hear who passed mask policy this week?
King?
Shit's going to get really interesting. Walmart.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So to enter Walmart now, no matter what part of the country you're in,
You have to wear a mask.
You have to wear a mask. So what is Karen going to do?
I don't know. But I mean, listen, even a mask could not get the mayor of Hialeah into that news conference.
Oh, you saw that?
Yes. Poor Hialeah. Our beloved Hialeah is always getting snubbed.
Hialeah should have been there front and center.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Walmart.
But Walmart.
So Karens around the country
Karens and Chads
are going to have a really tough time.
You know what? Did you? Oh my god! Did you see the video? This should almost become like a segment where we just talk about petulant adults.
Yes.
You know, the COVID.
In this week's Karen corner.
In this week's Karen corner, did you see the one of La Vieja? I'm assuming it's La Vieja because they blocked out her face, so I can't see it. At the Costco,
the guy with the red shirt.
No. This was a lady. She was walking in, and as she's walking in, I mean, it's Costco, so to begin with, you know that they have to get your ID. Like you know. It's easier to probably get into the White House with a thing of Goya than to get into Costco to buy the Goya. So she gets there.
Does Costco have Goya or does it have Kirkland black beans?
Oh. No, it's probably Kirkland.
Black beans.
Kirkland black bean. So she walks in, and the lady at the door, you know, the employee tells her, "Ma'am, you need to wear a mask to come into the establishment." Oh, well, it's a free country or whatever. And she's like, I understand that, ma'am, and you're right. It is a free country. She was very polite. Like, I'm going to show you the video afterwards. Yes, you're right, but this is a private company. This is a private building, and that is our rule. Oh, I don't want it. I'm going to return this over here. Ma'am, she'll be more than happy to assist you if you put on a mask. Here, I have a mask for... Like, she's here. Bueno. Eventually, the lady sat down in the middle of the Costco entrance.
Oh, really?
She sat down to wait for the manager, and the beauty of it is...
Old Lady Karen called the
Old
manager.
Lady Karen. And the beauty of it is... No, she didn't call the manager. The girl at the door, eventually she got to the point, and she was polite to her the entire time. But she got to the point where the lady even said, oh, I want to cancel my Costco membership. And she's like, well, I can absolutely help you with that, but you're going to have to put on a mask so you can go to the counter and do it. And she's, I want to speak to a manager. She's like, no problem, man. Where would you like? I'm going to have you wait outside. No, I'm not going to wait outside. Okay, but you can wait here. And she sat down in the floor, and the manager came, and he's like, man, what's the problem? She's like, I came to return no sé qué cosa. And the guy's like, okay, I'm not dealing with this. Is that what you want to return? Here, just give her $10. Bye.
But you're not coming in the store.
But you're not coming in the store.
Right. Good.
Bien hecho.
Good. It's funny because like the whole thing with Walmart, in a lot of these like right-wing pages, there's people who are posting stuff about Walmart.
Boycott Walmart?
Boycott Walmart. And they're like, we are never going to Walmart again. I'm like, not even you can say that with a
You don't
straight
even believe
face.
that. You don't believe that.
When those rollback prices come in.
Listen, you can't refuse a bargain.
Yes.
Okay, when that little whistling smiley face knocks down the price.
Especially now during the coronavirus, like, you know, not everybody has...
La cosa no está pa' Target.
Yes. No, it's time for Walmart.
Yes.
You know, with rollback prices. Por favor, you know. Yes. Yeah, it's like, who could resist a rollback price bargain?
Please.
You know? But people are, we're going to boycott Walmart. I'm like, oh, Dios mío. There we go. Cancel culture.
Right.
It hits both ways.
Only because, and the beauty of it is, again, it is a private company. It can establish its rules.
Right.
Again, I said it before. No shoes, no shirt, no service.
So
I don't like wearing a shirt.
Okay, so there's something else I really wanted to bring up. And how is everybody? How is everybody? Happy Friday, everyone.
In at about the midway point of our episode.
Happy Friday. Is everybody having a good Friday?
Which, by the way, if you haven't caught on by now, this is going to be a Just Us episode. Yeah. So, you know.
No, but by this time we would have already cut to our guest. But let me tell you. And now we're sitting with the wonderful...
Just in case, since we're doing a check-in. Right?
Fulana.
Since we're doing a
check-in. Hey, Fulana. Oh my gosh, totally off topic. Do you have Antena 3, the Spanish show?
I don't. I mean, I know what it is. I've seen it.
So, my parents are obsessed with Antena 3 with Spanish, Spanish television from Spain.
It's a channel from Spain.
And there's this game show called Pasapalabra.
Okay.
So
I think you've started telling me about this.
So it's really good. It's 2 contestants.
Okay.
And they have to go through the whole alphabet. So it's like A, El nombre de
manzana.
No. El nombre de una autora que escribió tal libro,
And rice.
B. They'll throw at it, but usually it's like very hard words.
Okay.
Even though we speak Spanish, our vocabulary is in Spanish is not as vast that we could play that game like that.
Right.
Because you have to be like, if time wasn't an issue, like I could probably get most of them.
But you're timed, yeah.
But you're timed. Bueno, there's an audience.
Okay.
And the shows are live.
Right.
And what they did was hilarious. So in the audience, they have real people, but there's like, 3 or 4 people.
Oh, so they're
between
still
them.
doing new episodes.
They're doing new episodes, but you know what they did? So they'll have like one person, and then they'll have like 4 or 5 empty chairs,
Okay.
and another person,
Okay.
and then in each
each row.
they will have them. But in between the 2 real people, they have cutouts of other people with masks.
That's brilliant.
And I was, and the first time the first few times I was watching it, I was like, especially Spain got hit really hard with the coronavirus. And I was thinking like, ay, qué extraño que en ese estudio, which a recording of a show, as we know, takes hours.
Yeah.
And
you're crammed in there.
Tienen toda esa gente ahí sentada sin moverse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, pero no se mueve ninguno de ellos. And I'm like,
are they alive?
I'm like, oh my God, they're cutouts. It is so cleverly done. Like, it is so good. And it's like real people. And like the scale of like the cutouts are like
so
real.
it's like
yes, it looks
human size. Yeah.
What sets you off is like they're not moving.
Right,
because when they come to commercial, the real people are clapping, and then they're just like sitting there. Like, oh, they're cutouts, but yeah. So pasa palabra on Antena 3. That was our little commercial for
Yes,
them.
that was our commercial break.
That was our sponsorship. What I wanted to bring up was, it's just so funny because everything today becomes political.
Yeah, as we saw, los frijoles.
And the coronavirus, as we know, has become political, right?
For whatever reason.
And not to oversimplify it, but it's kind of become more like a more liberal left stance that is very, worried about the coronavirus, wears masks, and the more conservative right wing is like, kind of like, we don't believe in the coronavirus. I mean, obviously we're talking about extremes here, but we don't believe in the coronavirus. Right. The coronavirus is a hoax. It's the government. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. Right. And I'm not wearing a mask. And science, whatever. Right? They don't want to believe that. But have you seen what like the right wing is like? And if you're a right winger, you're listening to our show.
Well, first of all, congratulations, because that's 100.
Well, no, because I wouldn't say that we're like a left. I mean, both of you, I consider. Well, I'm a liberal. I mean, I always have been. You're not as liberal as I am.
No,
but even in the platform of our show, we're not like.
We're not hardcore one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, we try to be as center as we can, and for the sake of good discussion.
Right.
But if you are like a hardcore, like more right-leaning person, you'll probably know this is true. So they don't want to believe the coronavirus, so they think it's exaggerated and all that. Okay. But for some reason, right-wing Instagram accounts and like right-wing, like anti-liberal accounts are totally up on the WayFair thing. That the WayFair thing is true. There's no evidence of it. None. It's all circumstantial. There's no...
I have to say, when I first saw it, and for those of you who don't know, basically there was 3 escaparates, right? Like 3 storage containers that were like ridiculously priced. I mean, again, they were like industrial grade storage containers, but it was like $15,000, $13,000. And... proof that we are staying home way too long and the country needs to get back to normal. Somebody made the connection between the name of the storage shelves and missing children. I would have never even known where to start.
Yes.
And so the whole conspiracy is that they were basically sex trafficking these children.
Yes.
To the point where WayFair had to take down
my cousin showed me a bunch of like the expensive like stuff.
Yeah.
Like, a lamp called the Madeline that was like $15,000. It was a chandelier. Tú te imaginas que tú tienes un chandelier para tu casa y se te aparezca una chiquita named Madeline.
Hello, I'm here from WayFair.
Okay, but the point is, so right-wing people are like, I mean, I'm talking about like really hardcore.
Like nutsy, yeah.
Right-wing
like
people
nut job,
are totally up on the WayFair thing. Totally.
But that doesn't surprise me.
Up on the WayFair thing.
But that doesn't surprise
they will believe. They will believe
but that
the
doesn't
WayFair thing.
surprise me. These are the same people of Pizzagate.
Exactly. The WayFair thing, yes. The WayFair. I've ordered from WayFair, and I'm here to tell you that what I have ordered...
No children showed up?
No children showed up.
But how expensive was your order? Maybe
my sister-in-law has ordered half the house from WayFair.
Because I don't think they send you children for less than $10,000.
And she has, she spent a lot. Actually, I got a call from WayFair this week.
Oh, Really?
Yeah, because what I ordered for Tristan's
yeah.
room was from WayFair. And I got a call from WayFair asking me, because I put it on the company card,
Right.
asking me if I wanted a company account. And I was like, no, because I don't really order that much from WayFair. So I spoke to the ring.
You spoke to the ringleader of
Yes,
the child sex ring.
Maybe if I would have, continued.
Maybe if you knew some code
But
words.
that's like the audacity of like where we are right now
Darian,
in a world that people will believe the WayFair thing. And again, it's all circumstantial evidence.
At most.
It's a coincidence that there is a girl named Madeline that disappeared and there's a lamp that's called the Madeline. Like,
Right.
They will believe that, like, yes, WayFair is sex trafficking and, Epstein and all that stuff. But no, COVID is a lie. COVID is a lie. The science, no. Like, what do you mean science? No, Fauci doesn't know anything. Fauci es un estúpido,
Listen, like I told you earlier today of a string that I saw on Facebook. It's fascinating to me that people who we personally know are incapable of stringing together a 2-word sentence have decided that they are now authorities on science.
Right. Yeah.
Scientific things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what else I found really funny?
And the thing is, you can't argue with those people, because the minute that you argue with conspiracy theorists, the lack of proof becomes the proof. Because then it turns into like, well, of course you can't find it. They don't want you to know.
Right.
That means that it's out there. It's like, I don't even understand how to start to have this conversation because I can't, because I okay.
That's like, this is a little bit off topic. There's somebody that we follow that posts these ridiculous memes that they posted something, and again, it's like from one of these like crazy like right wing
things like that,
Instagram
things like the
accounts.
WayFair thing. Yeah.
They posted something like a quote that Mel Gibson gave like 10 years ago, saying that like Hollywood had a bunch of pedophiles.
Yeah.
Right, and this person put, this is why he got canceled and thrown out of Hollywood.
No.
And I felt like responding, no, sweetie. He got thrown out of Hollywood because he was caught on tape saying anti-Semitic Jews, saying things that were anti-Semitic things against Jews. And this was recorded. And he denied the Holocaust. That is why he got outshone from...
But, you can play fast and loose with whatever facts you want to believe.
But it's just amazing that, like... Look, I've said this several times. It's not that I consider myself like smarter than anyone or better than everyone, but I've gone to school, I've read, I continue to try to read. But even whether you've gone to college or not, like, I think that this world that we live in, that people base very complex issue. They make very complex stands on memes, whether it's political.
The other day I had to defend
AOC.
Yes, I had to defend her.
Oh, because of
it killed me.
Oh yeah.
There's a meme out there, and again, I'm paraphrasing because I can't be bothered to read quotes today. Apparently, there was a meme out there that attributed. It said that AOC had tweeted something to the effect of like, "Let's keep it going, guys. Let's destabilize the economy so we can win the election in November." And, it was a meme, and on top of it, it said, this is what she, even though she deleted it, this is her true feelings about us and the economy and getting to social, whatever, the usual thing, right? And I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, not only does this look like a bad Photoshop, it looks like a bad Photoshop that was then done on a PDF and then run underneath a car. Like, it doesn't look good at all. Like, it doesn't look authentic. So in maybe all of a minute and a half, I typed in AOC tweet economy. Snopes came back saying that they checked, in the Twitter database and and they could not find. Like, basically, she did not tweet that out. So I went back, and I've gotten to the point now where sometimes, depending on el día que me agarren, I'll copy the link and go into the comments section on Facebook of whomever's posting something and just kind of just leave the, the proof, right? And the response to that was just like, yeah, but it's just, either way, it's like something she would say. And I'm like, oh, okay, so now we've gone from this is what she said to, oh, she would have said it anyway.
Right. It's Minority Report. Like, it's thought crime.
Like no. But and then these are the same people who will turn around and be like, oh, but it's satire. I'm like, no. First of all, you need to understand what that word means. That word means that you are doing something tongue in cheek. You are not doing something tongue in cheek. You are saying this person said this, let's go attack. That's not satire, that's inflammatory.
Right.
And I am still upset that I had to defend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
But that's what I was saying. People follow certain people on Instagram. It's like kind of following.
It's echo chamber. We've
like,
talked about this.
No. But it's kind of like when people follow like a cult leader or like maybe even like some type of religious figure blindly.
Yeah.
You know, they
Like
follow these Instagram pages where whether it's a liberal agenda or a conservative agenda, they follow these Instagram pages with all these memes and all these alleged facts. Oh, did you know that blah, 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 you know? And it's like they go and they repost it and they put it on their stuff and somebody else reposts it, so on and so forth. And they like question no
nothing.
questions. There's
And
no questions.
all this despite the fact that they literally have all of the world's information
in their hand.
in their hand.
It's like, I would never do that. Like, and again, it's not that I think that I'm smarter than anybody.
I question
and all that,
everything.
but it's like, I would never make such a bold statement about something without either knowing it firsthand, right?
Or doing research.
And again, you don't have to like be hours doing research, just a little thing. Like this same week,
it took me a minute and a half.
We had, again, somebody we follow on Instagram that posted something about executive pardons. And this person was like, oh, look at all these presidents, look how many pardons they've given, and you know, Trump has only given like 50 or 52 pardons, and you know, look at all these presidents abusing their powers. And then I kindly and very you know, I was
very politely, almost informatively,
I said, hey, these other presidents that you're saying abuse their powers versus the current president, most presidents give their pardons at the end of their presidency, some on the very last day. So when you say this president only has 50 some pardons and look at everybody else, that's actually not accurate, because this is still a sitting president.
That's
right?
not how I would do numbers. Like from an analysis,
he's still a sitting president, right?
Also,
at the end,
you can compare a 4-term to an 8-term,
right? But whenever the presidency ends, whether it's in 4 years or 8 years, then you can make a comparison, right? But you can't say,
because on the last day he could come in and pardon 1 million people,
right? But yeah, there has been presidents that have pardoned,
and that's within his right.
300-400 people in one day,
his right. That's within his right,
right? And they sign,
Idale,
idale, right? So you can't. This is not accurate at all. This is not political. This is not, you know, me
it's just,
liking someone more than another. It's just saying
that's not an accurate analysis
of fact. You know, factual analysis. You can't. The other president's numbers are finite. Those numbers are not changing. Right. Those presidents are out of office. Right. But the current president is still in office.
Right.
So. But that's the type of shit that people post, and then they repost it, and they repost it, and like, ¿Viste Obama como hizo lo que dio la gana?
You know what?
And then people talk out of their ass and say things that aren't correct.
You should screen capture that, and then on the last day of Trump's presidency, whenever that may be, find out how many pardons he did and update it, and then just repost it.
I think I may do that. So, yeah, that's the world that we live in.
It sucks sometimes. I just wish the aliens would get
No, but this is better. Let me tell you. Come on.
Where are the aliens?
I have a great little story that I want to tell you on air.
Okay.
So, this week, I was with a client in the office.
Okay.
And she started mentioning kind of here and there how she had done a lot of work like in Cambodia and like Laos and Vietnam. And I'm like, oh, you have been all over the place. And she's like, yeah, I did a lot of work when I worked for the Heifer Corporation.
No, you're fucking kidding me.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like,
I don't believe you.
I was like,
I don't believe you.
Let me tell you something.
I don't believe any words coming out of your lying mouth.
I was like, you don't understand. Like, we have a podcast. And, you know, I explained everything. I'm like, we always give Alaska Coke a lot of times, like philanthropy or like, you know, charities. Right. And, you know, one time my co-host gave it to the Heifer Corporation. And kind of like as a running joke, like I kept, And it's funny because that part I didn't think she found funny because she took her work very seriously.
Well, because she's part of the Heifer Corporation, yes.
And I'm like, and I kind of laughed at the name of the corporation. So I keep bringing it up. And she's like, yeah, we do a lot of very serious work, and blah, blah, blah. She didn't chuckle at that
She
part.
didn't find the humor, no.
I'm like, OMG.
Let me tell you something. The Heifer Corporation has got a lot of earned media dollars out of us, if nothing else.
Is there another podcast that mentions
I don't
the Heifer Corporation like we do?
Unless there is a Heifer Corporation podcast, I don't think that's...
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, I was like, when she left the office, I got my phone to call you. And I go, no. This is.
We're recording today. It's got to be live. It's got to be live.
Wait, what else happened to me this week that I was like, when it happened to me? Oh, I got hit by a car.
Oh, yes.
On my bike.
Yes, we buried the lead.
Okay, so guys, listeners, a lot of times now, since Ish and I have had this podcast for close to 3 years, whether we see something on TV or maybe something happens to us, we kind of hold off telling each other specifics on it so we could discuss it here on
like with my heart situation in P-Town,
yes.
where
yes. And when this happened, I immediately thought, oh man, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. So in the last couple of months, since gyms have been closed,
yes,
I was like, I need to exercise because if not, I'm gonna turn up like Violet in the Willy Wonka.
Y cuidado.
Violet, you're turning violet. Violet, I'm gonna need to be squeezed.
Oh, no. Like a pimple?
So I got a bike, but I got like a really good bike.
Yeah, it's very lightweight.
Yes, I got like a really good bike, and I made an investment, and I started riding, and I really enjoy it now.
You really kept it up.
I really enjoy it now. I'm doing like 15, 16, 17 miles, and I find it very relaxing because I put I have a holder for my phone,
right,
and I put the radio.
Right.
Like as loud as I can, music.
Yeah.
I don't have headphones because if I have headphones and I'm riding, I feel too disconnected to the road.
I don't put headphones.
So I have the speaker, but the speaker is loud enough.
Yeah, that's what Jose does because he has a basket on the front of his bike, so he'll put the little speaker there on his phone, and we ride by.
Yeah, the speaker is loud enough, and I really, really enjoy it. But now in my riding adventures, if you will, I've kind of like noticed certain things.
Okay,
and
like.
So crossing intersections usually is not a problem. You wait.
Yeah, it's a light. Yeah.
And it's a light and people are stopped. You just got to be careful with the turning lane.
Right, of course.
It's stopped. It is also legal to ride in the sidewalk because you know how people say it's illegal to ride on sidewalks. No, it is legal in Dade County to ride in sidewalks. When I ride in residential areas that don't have traffic, I ride on the street. Yeah. But I don't want to be that dipshit on Kendall Drive, on my bike on the street holding off
rush hour traffic.
Because I know that I hate it. So I don't want to be that person. So the other day I was on Kendall Drive and I was on the sidewalk, right? And this woman was gonna leave the shopping center and she was gonna go on Kendall Drive to turn left because she was gonna go eastbound.
Okay.
Right? So she had to cross Kendall Drive, go on the median, and then go eastbound. And the car next to her was going to turn right. Mm-hmm. So I saw the car I saw the other car, and the other guy even signaled pass. And I'm passing. I'm obviously passing very slow.
Yeah, you're not.
As I'm passing the car that told me to pass, I see her, and I'm like, she's looking left, and she's on her phone.
Está comiendo mierda.
Está comiendo mierda. She's on her phone. She's not going to look right. She's not going to look right, and here I'm coming. You know how you could have a whole, you could recite the Gettysburg
in 3
Address.
Seconds,
but in a microsecond, all these things come through your mind in literally a microsecond. I'm like, she's on her phone and she's looking left, but she's not going to look right. And I'm coming in her right. And here I am. I am passing her. I'm getting closer. This is happening in slow motion. It's kind of like Ross on Friends. Ross, it's the episode I'm talking about when he has that date and he's like, this is the most time two people have never spoken to each other. And it was kind of like that. And I'm like, she's going to hit me. Oh, look, she's moving her car. She's coming towards me. Oh, no, she hit me.
She hit you.
She hit me. As I saw, she was...
But hit you
she was stopped, right?
Okay.
And again,
she didn't have impulso.
She was waiting for the cars to pass, for
Right.
traffic to clear up on Kendall Drive
Okay.
to cross and
Right.
make a left, right? So she was stopped, and as my bike was in front of her, that's when she hit the gas. And again, she was only looking left. She didn't look right. She was on her phone comiendo mierda, and she hit me. I fell off my bike. Nothing happened to me.
You didn't get scraped or anything.
Nothing. I fell off my bike, and she comes out running like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Ma'am, you need to pay attention.
Claro.
You know, you need to pay attention. I was on the sidewalk, and you did not look right at all." She's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." It's funny because
It's funny now.
after that happened, and I told a few people, everybody was like, "Oh my god, you should have sued." And I'm like, "Really? You're telling me that?"
Listen, times are tough right now, and I know that, you're
She was
self-employed.
She was in a Mercedes Benz.
Oh my God, you should have sued her for me too.
So I was like, "Really? You're telling me?"
Do it.
But anyway, so
No, but you didn't call a cop or anything.
nothing,
so,
nothing. No, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So the point, people, is that pay attention.
No coman tanta mierda con
No
el
coman
teléfono.
tanta mierda con el teléfono, con el teléfono, con checking Instagram while you're
Dejen
driving.
el TikTok.
Dejen el TikTok and this. But it happened in slow motion. Like, I had a full conversation with myself in that, like, 1/4 of a second. I'm like, "Mira, she's looking left. She's upon her phone. She's not going to look up. She's not going to see me.
This is gonna happen.
This is gonna happen. And I'm going her way. There is no stopping me now."
You were like you were 2 points, 2 ships in the night. You were just.
This is how the Stockholm sunk the Andrea Doria. Don't you know that story?
What happened to the girl from 90210?
Don't you know that story? The Andrea Doria, this happened in 1956. My father remembers when this happened. It caused a lot of news because this happened on TV. Like, the ship went down live on TV.
Oh, shit.
The Andrea Doria was an ocean liner, so it was a passenger ship. The Stockholm was a Swedish ice-breaking ship with a reinforced hull.
Oh, no.
So just imagine. And the
Yeah.
thing was that the Stockholm T-boned the Andrea Doria. But the ships were not going fast. They saw each other for hours. Until this day, they don't know how this happened. Because it wasn't foggy. It wasn't
Bad conditions.
bad conditions.
It wasn't
They don't know how this happened.
One of the ships didn't speed up.
They actually, this sounds really stupid, but I'm I love ocean liner history. They actually believe that, and at that time, this happened in the 50s, they had sonar. So
Yeah.
they actually believe that they both thought they were going to move. Like, the Andrea Doria thought the Stockholm was going to move, and the Stockholm thought the Andrea Doria was going to move, and neither of them did. And that's the incident where, very tragic, you probably heard, it kind of became legend, of somebody seeing their wife being sucked out of a ship. Because where the Stockholm hit is the point of impact of the Stockholm onto the Andrea Doria was a cabin.
Oh shit.
So it pierced the cabin, and when it went back, it sucked the woman out, and her husband saw it.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's terrible. But it was one of those accidents that's like, how did this happen? They saw each other. Like,
And these are not fast-moving ships.
yes. This wasn't
Somebody
like
could have
speedboats.
done something.
Yes, and they actually think nowadays that it was that because they both saw each other in the sonar.
Right.
There's footage of the two ships before the accident because they weren't far from land.
Okay.
Right? So there's plenty of footage. But they found that there was no communication between the ships.
Clearly.
Right. So they really think that one thought that the other one was going to move.
They'll move.
So there I am having this conversation by myself on the bike. I'm like, she's not seeing me. She's not seeing me. She's on her phone. She's going to hit me. Oh, look, I'm in front of her car. Oh, look, she's moving. Oh, she hit me. So that was my week, ladies and gentlemen.
That's wonderful. That is absolutely just wonderful.
I have a tale to tell.
Oh, Madonna.
So, yeah, on that note,
On the Madonna note.
this has made me very thirsty.
Oh, you very thirsty?
I am
You ready
thirsty.
for your last soda?
I'm ready for my last soda.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I will go first.
Why did you say that like third season Michelle Tanner?
I will go first. Guess what?
Politeness
Week is over. So we've been binging It's a Living for now 2 weeks, and it's great because there's a season of It's a Living that it's like it was filmed in 1985, so like a very young pre-Danny Tanner Bob Saget comes out, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Danny Tanner before he was Danny Tanner.
It's back when him and Vicky lived in L.A. versus San Francisco.
That's so awesome, right? That him and Gail Edwards had a scene together.
They did, but they didn't, because his most interaction there was with Nancy.
But they were in a scene together. And then
yeah,
they would later be on
Full House.
Full House. So anyway, so
actually, I thought of you. I don't know if you saw. They posted the final cast. Juan Pablo de Pache posted the final cast. Bao. Mm-hmm. She was there.
Cool.
Gail Edwards.
Oh, okay.
She was invited to.
I was going to say
the last
wait,
episode.
Nancy Beebe was there.
From the dead. Yes.
So, anyway, so my last soda goes out to the to be named football team from Washington, but for all intents and purposes, are Washington Redskins. They finally have agreed to change their name. And just for the people out there saying like, "Oh my God, everything's being changed now," this has been going on for decades.
Yeah. This is not new. This is not new.
This has been
Lo que ahora.
This has been under fire for years. What people have to understand is that Redskins. That's extremely offensive to Native Americans.
It's like calling a Mexican a wetback.
It's awful. It is one of the worst insults you can give a Native American, but unfortunately, because of the football team, it's a term that has been normalized, and people say it back and forth, and it's part of our lexicon. Mm-hmm. Is that too big of a word?
No, it's not for me. I like it.
It's part of our lexicon, and people don't know the significance of it because it's been completely normalized. But it's a very, very offensive word, and for many, 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 many years, not just now, there has been a lot of controversy for them to change their name. Different Native American tribes have written letters to the NFL commissioners. I mean, this has been going on for a very long time. They finally agreed to. Now, this week is a blessing and a curse for them because it's great that they're doing this and they're going to do the right thing, but they also now are in the middle of a sex abuse scandal. That came about this week. So we'll talk about that for another day.
I haven't even heard about that.
We'll talk about that for another day. But for right now, we'll focus on, the organization finally moving, changing the name. The NFL is very complicated right now because the NFL has been very controversial
for a lot of years now.
For a lot of years now, for different reasons. And, if they would have only given the guy a chance, I mean this about Colin.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have given him the shit that they did. Maybe a lot of the stuff that's happening now wouldn't have happened.
Or a little lessened.
So, they have, the NFL in particular has a lot of mending to do, to put it nicely. And I think that this is one of the ways that they could start. So.
Yeah, I agree. And they've been trying in the last couple of years. I know that they've, they have now a domestic violence initiative. They have an LGBT partnership. So, I mean, to their credit, they're not just saying, oh, well, they're kind of trying to do something. So it's funny that you gave it to the Washington former, soon to be named something else, Redskins, because mine is also sports related.
The Heifer Corporation?
It is. They are branching out into hockey.
They are,
but field hockey because a cow can't skate on ice.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm actually giving my last soda to Sports Illustrated. And I know everybody right now is saying, really, Sports Illustrated? You don't do sports, but I do like the swimsuit issue. And this year's swimsuit issue is actually going to feature the first transgender model.
Oh, okay.
Brazilian by the name of Valentina Sampaio.
Do you have a picture?
Yes, Valentina Sampaio. Now, she's not on the cover, but she is being featured in it. And obviously, that's a huge step forward. And it's interesting because you really actually stop and think about the swimsuit issue. And for as much as, it's the models and the Giselles and the this and the that, Sports Illustrated, the swimsuit issue, has actually done a lot in terms of putting different types of women in front of its readers. For the longest time, it was not just about the bikini babe, but it was the athletic girl. It was your Christy Brinkley's and your Kathy Ireland's. These were not women who were just pinups. They were actually athletes and, they were active and things like that. So I would say that this is probably in continuation of that. Of that.
You know,
Okay.
hell is going to be arisen by some people.
Oh, I'm sure. I am certain. But you know what?
I mean, good for them. I mean, that's
But you know what?
awesome.
I'm glad that they're doing it.
I think that is what real progress looks like, right?
Correct. Because you know what? You're absolutely right. If anybody's going to have a boycott SI hashtag, it's at the very least who we think is the customer base of Sports Illustrated. And they have essentially said, I don't give a fuck. You know, This is a beautiful model, and she's going to be in the swimsuit.
You know, it's so funny because we say this all the time that, like, you know, people just mind your own business and
who
let people be
cares?
people. Right now, I'm watching Billions, and you know, there's a trans character.
Well, no, not even.
Well, she's not even
non-binary.
not trans. I'm non-binary.
Non-binary. Yeah.
And it's funny because the non-binary,
And I believe this person is non-binary in real life.
Yeah. They are non-binary.
I can't get there yet. I'll say person.
Let's try to say it correctly.
I only me confundo.
But it's funny because the issue has been addressed, but it hasn't been addressed on the show. When they are interviewed, you know, the guy interviewing them, which Bobby Axelrod, which is a badass. You know, he's like, you know,
Bobby Axelrod is which actor?
This guy that was on Homeland.
See, okay.
He is amazing. I forgot his name.
Yeah, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The redhead, the ginger.
Sí.
Oye, porque mira, Paul Giamatti is an acting
Tremendo
powerhouse.
Yeah. I mean, he's
this guy, at least in Billions, blows Paul Giamatti out of the water.
Really?
Like, he is on that show. He is amazing on that show. Pero bueno, when he interviews them, he's like, I know you're different, and I know you see things differently, and that's going to be an asset for me. Because he hires them based on that they're kind of...
what they bring to the table.
They're out of the box, right? And it's funny because, like, in the show, the character is so well written that the fact that they are non-binary is the center of why that person is on the show, and, well, why that character is the way that character is. But at the same time, it's
not
something
about
that
that.
is not about that.
Right.
So that goes to show you that when well written, you can have a character like that that is represented. It's not hiding. They are not hiding what they are. But it's so well written that it is and it isn't about it. You know,
it's just another character trait.
It's just another character. Right. And now it's something you don't even think about. You know,
Right.
Like now I see the character and I'm like, that's Taylor, you know?
Right.
It's because somebody took a chance because they didn't have to do that on that
That's
show.
true. They didn't have to hire this person.
They didn't have to hire this person. They didn't have to have, you know...
well, number one, a non-binary character.
They didn't have
number
to have
two,
exactly.
a non-binary actor.
Right. They didn't have to have none of that.
Yeah.
But they chose to, and they did it very well, and they did it effectively.
Right.
And that's how you
Make progress.
I'm sure there's people who watch Billions that have a problem with that. And I'm sure there's going to be I mean, obviously the Sports Illustrated thing is because you're talking about a very macho man
environment
consumption.
Yeah.
Right? And you're putting a trans, you know, woman on the cover. So
No, it's not, she's not on the cover.
Oh, she's not on the cover?
She's not on the cover. She is in the pages, but not on the
somewhere
cover.
in the,
to my understanding.
Okay. Well, but whether
who
it's
cares?
in the
That's
cover
still progress.
or not, that's a ton of progress, especially with such
With
a high
that,
profile
right.
publication. But, you know, that's the way that you get things done. You know, I'm sure when Tyra Banks was the first black
That's another, there you go.
female on that cover, you know, a lot of people
with
had a problem with it, you know? So if you have a problem with it, you know.
Especially people who like small foreheads.
What do I say? I've never said that on this show.
That's true.
What is my famous saying? When you get mad at something like that, you're going to have two problems. Getting mad and getting over it. So, you know, on that note, we hope everybody enjoyed this show of our gibberish and our banter.
This is what people love.
It was just us. For those of you who say, I like it when it's just you two guys and, you know,
This is
whatever.
our gift. This is our summer gift to you.
Here you go. So we hope everybody listened, laughed, and learned. And remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us in episode 118. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
All right, take care of each other, mi gente. Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lamleplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.